censored by the Vatican. And I think around 2014, an investigation into Père Thomas revealed that there were suspicions that Jean's own behaviour was mirroring that.
100
The inquiry
yards.
reveals
Turn right.
that 6 adult women gave credible evidence of abuse spanning a period from 1970
Turn
to
right.
2005. It does seem astonishing, doesn't it, that these behaviours unchallenged for so long.
Two of the allegations came out the first was in 2016 and the second was in 2019, which was as Jean was dying. I think that second allegation really sounded warning bells because it sounded a lot like this same abusive behaviour that Père Thomas engaged in. The 4 subsequent allegations only came to light when L'Arche launched its investigation. Now, I think having covered abuse in the church myself for a long time, it does ring true to me that victims sometimes hold back on some allegations until you really think about just how it rings true to me. So I think L'Arche said that they were to wear it was that rings true to me, and I think that the way they behave going forward indicates that they're taking action since they did point out.
And in addition to coercive, manipulative, sexually abusive behaviour, the L'Arche statement references spiritual or mystical explanations that were used to justify or attempt to justify. What is that referring
I see, it's very murky. This is where Jean's behaviour looked like it was mirroring that of Père Thomas. So the abuse took place within the context of spiritual direction, so spiritual guidance, which is a kind of counselling. And these women who Jean Vanier was counselling were victims of spiritual abuse and sexual abuse. And that Jean was saying to them, what you're doing here is showing your love for Jesus, and think of me as Jesus and you as Mary, and I'm expressing Jesus' love for you by doing this to you. And a lot of language, and again, kind of textbook abuse language, really saying to them, you've been chosen by God, you're special, and using spiritual direction as a front for abuse.
it? And sacrilegious as well.
Absolutely sacrilegious, just devastating in a way that all clerical abuse is devastating, because there's this horrendous abuse of power of vulnerable women who came to a figure like Jean Vanier, who was known as this profound, mystic, spiritual writer, who came to counselling and just experienced this abuse that will have shattered their faith in God as much as in Jean Vanier. And that's, for me, that's probably the most disturbing aspect of it.
How do you begin to process this, Liz, in the future as you look back on the life and the writings of Jean?
I think this has done incredible damage to his reputation. I think it's very helpful that L'Arche have been so in a way that I can say, as someone who's covered the Catholic Church in terms of abuse, the Church often isn't proactive. So they've made their findings to the public. I think that they will offer counselling to anybody who comes forward who's been affected by this. So I think that they have done what they can to safeguard the work that L'Arche does. The people who've given their lives to serving L'Arche are victims of this as well. A lot of very young people work in their communities, and not just Catholics, because while L'Arche was founded as a Catholic institution, it's reached beyond that. So people I've spoken to today are in mourning, they're in shock.
Most of them are faded or damaged. St Thomas's Church in Salisbury has one of the biggest of them on the wall above its chancel arch, and it's just been ridiculously restored in vivid colours. The rector of St Thomas's
our painting at St Thomas's has Christ sitting in judgment in the centre, and off to his right-hand side you can see the dead climbing out of their graves at the apocalypse, summoned by angels, and then there's a huge heavenly Jerusalem behind him where the good are being ushered off to. And then down to his left-hand side is the serious part, the hell part, and the artist had great fun painting that.
And it sounds like it's a pretty sizable.
Seeing what the artist wanted you to see. So as I said, it's complete. You can see every detail. It's a given in the church. It's Thomas's, it's judgment that you have above your head, over the chancel arch, as you're preaching and as you're taking the services. It's very there, if I can say. And I see it as a great resource. I'm occasionally asked, is that a bit difficult for you? How do you see a hell scene? But I prefer to look at it much more positively as an aid to teaching and preaching. And it's not about hell. I see it as being something to do with accountability. It's about teaching that Jesus used constantly, about being stewards of the given opportunities as the sheep of the goats. Occasionally, that's what it was intended to do, with a rather medieval scare about it. But,
Well, yes, because you think it's about accountability. I bet those medieval priests thought it was actually just about hell.
Well, hell is one small corner of the picture, and it's actually dominated by the heavenly Jerusalem, a medieval skyline behind Jesus. And also a picture of Jesus sitting on a rainbow, slightly uncomfortable, sitting on a rainbow. His hands obviously are the pierced hands. So it's telling us much more strongly about what it is to be a Christian, what it is to follow a judge who is the wounded healer. I think it's a positive message that it gives, with a little bit of care in the interpretation.
It has a pretty long history, doesn't it? Pretty complicated.
The Doom painting that we know, as it dates back to when the church was first built, so it's late 15th century, although I'm always careful to say much retouched. And there were Doom paintings in very many churches. Many Dooms. Doom boom inside, couldn't help it. Bishops climbing out of their graves, there are bishops going up into heaven and wandering around in battlements in heavenly Jerusalem, and people love to point out there's a bishop in a place that they was shoveled off into the fiery monster. I'm far too polite.
The Reverend Kelvin Inglis and former mayor of New York, the first Jewish president of the United States. He spent more than $400 million of his own money so far on his political campaign. And the next campaign is held to rise in national polls for the presidential election in November. He is now on what does his campaign and George Clinton mean for the Democrats and the referendum to win back
I remember visiting Auschwitz a couple of years ago, walking the same paths our ancestors trudged down to the gas chambers and ovens. And as we prepare to mark International Holocaust Remembrance Day, we're reminded of what Rabbi Sachs of Great Britain teaches, that hatred that starts with the Jews never ends there. And we also know, don't we, that what starts with others can end with us.
That was Mr. Bloomberg speaking in Florida last month. He talked about his Jewish identity and about winning the White House.
Keep right.
And people like
Then
Steve
exit
Rabinowitz,
right.
a political consultant in Washington, were paying close attention.
Bloomberg gave, for all practical purposes,
Exit
a Jewish
right.
speech. While I had hoped that it would be all about Israel and anti-Semitism, it was all about Israel and anti-Semitism. But the crowd loved it. People loved it. And it was the official kickoff of his campaign
Turn
to woo
left.
the Jewish vote. And it worked tremendously.
Mr. Rabinowitz spoke with me about the Democratic candidates and what he said about Washington. Aside from his Bernie Sanders, I said that President Amy
Mike Bloomberg, among Democrats, is almost uniquely, in fact, that. And while there are other Democrats
Keep right.
who are great
Then go
in their own
straight
right,
ahead.
Bloomberg happens to be great in that right. And
Go straight ahead.
to have him be able to one-up Trump in Trump's own persona, Trump's own bio, would just be so amusing. I'm game for that.
I caught up with Amy Saltzman at the Jewish magazine where she works. Mr. Bloomberg's been surging in polls. Today, about 17% of Democrats support him.
Like his stance is on Israel and anti-Semitism. He's been very clear in his support of Israel. He is in no way someone who, for instance, would support the boycott and sanctions movement against Israel, saying that it cannot stand and that he would forcefully oppose
At nearby George Washington University, Catholic students and Jewish students
Go
are all
straight
talking about
ahead.
politics, and some of them are worried about Mr. Bloomberg. Here's
Go
Ellen
straight ahead.
I think being Jewish is a very big part of my identity, but it's not everything. I'm a woman, and the way Mike Bloomberg talks about women, especially in the workplace, I couldn't vote for somebody like that, the way he talks about other racial minorities, and I just couldn't vote for somebody like that. Even though he does support Israel, and that's very important to me, I also think it's important the way Bernie Sanders talks about Israel. He doesn't support it wholeheartedly. He sees it that, he's said Netanyahu is racist, and it's important to come at it from a critical point of view
Keep
instead of
left.
just supporting
Then
it
turn
wholeheartedly
left.
because you're Jewish.
Is to give a voice to people who have for 45 years are not making a nickel more than they did 45 years ago. We're giving a voice to people who are saying we are sick and tired of billionaires like Mr. Bloomberg seeing huge expansions of their wealth while 500,000 people sleep.
Mr. Bloomberg with Bernie Sanders and the other Democratic candidates in the debate for the first time earlier this week. Josh Silverman was watching it. I asked him about Mr. Bloomberg.
See if Bloomberg looks human. If he does, he becomes extremely dangerous.
Mr. Bloomberg tanked during the debate. He was wooden, didn't respond well to the questions, but it didn't really hurt his numbers. They dropped only about 3 points. However important the debates seem at the time, research from Harvard Business School shows that they don't really matter that much. Mr. Bloomberg still has time, and he's hoping Jewish voters Daniel Schwartz, a George Washington University professor, points out that religion is deeply important in American life. About half of people in this country pray every day, and almost 80% believe in angels. Religion's part of politics too, but not always in the way you expect.
There's this group that campaigned created Shpuch. Shpuch is a Yiddish term that means literally family, but it has certain resonances about a kind of coziness, a type of at-homeness that isn't, conveyed the same way by the English word family. So it's unusual that even a Jewish candidate for president would use a Yiddish term like that in order to sell himself, even to a Jewish audience. I think there is something to do there.
A lot of Democrats say Mr. Bloomberg's Jewish identity doesn't really matter that much to them. They're intrigued by something else. Here's Mr. Rabinowitz.
Candidate brings the same message. Other great candidates, candidates who could have been great had they caught on, or if they still caught on the same way. But Bloomberg seems to have a unique contrast to Trump. I'm afraid I'm one of those that this cycle is just all about winning. Is that possibility?
Steve Rabinowitz ending that report from Tara McKelvey. The government has pledged to crack down on illegal schools with new funding for investigations and potentially new powers for Ofsted to pursue prosecutions. Many of these unregistered independent schools have a religious character, not all. The Education Secretary Gavin Williamson has warned that unregistered schools present a serious risk to children because they often do not offer, in his words, the kind of balanced, informative curriculum all schools should, and they can expose pupils to dangerous and extreme influences. We can talk now with Ruth Wareham from UK to cover the scale of this issue. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Well, give us a sense of just how many.
So in 2019, Ofsted revealed it estimates around 6,000 children are being educated in illegal registered schools. It has investigated where the religious character of the school to pin down precisely how many of the schools there are. So they use various legal loopholes, some of which the government has proposed to close with this latest consultation.
How does it typically on average
Initial investigations have been on the unregistered yeshivas around the Stamford Hill area of London. We estimated at that point that there were around 1,000 children suspected to attend between about 10 and 20 schools, but they tend to pop up, disappear, and reopen under different names and move around. So again, it's difficult to assess the precise extent of the problem because of the nature of this operating within the sort of grey areas of the law, I guess.
So you just mentioned Jewish schools in that example. Muslim schools?
Yes, absolutely. Prosecution for the legal school providers. 2 were religious, and those 2 had a Muslim character.